Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this edition of In a Nutshell podcast. I'm Prince, and with me is my amiable sister Buchi and my brother Temi. And we'll be discussing an interesting topic today. It's mentors, sponsors, and shepherds. And we'll be looking at how to leverage the relationship upwards. We might ask ourselves, why it's important for us to discuss this. These are not just titles. It's those relationships that are good for every one of us on our journey. One of the things that I want us to consider is that God didn't design for us to do life alone, and God made it that we would all need each other along our journey. So to that end, we'll be, going into this topic, and with my fellow hosts would do justice to it. So to kick off, we would do some housekeeping, just do a little bit of definition, so that we all know and understand, what it is that these different titles mean, and then from there we'll take our discussion forward. I'll be, just so that we can keep things quick, I will be taking I'll be taking the definition of sponsors, while Buchi will be taking the definition of mentors, and my brother Chief T I know he doesn't want me to say that, but my brother Chief T will be taking shepherds. So I'll start, and then Buchi would go next, and then Chief T would follow up with that. So first of all, who are sponsors? So there are two ways we can look at sponsors. There's the general belief or definition of a sponsor, which has to do with somebody who takes responsibility for another person of the financial, it has to do with financial responsibility. But our emphasis, or where I want to anchor this for today, is a sponsor being somebody who acts as a support. So not necessarily financial, but general support in your journey. For example, there was a time when I was looking to change careers, to switch jobs, and a friend of mine, acted as a sponsor for me to get a job, in my desired field. And he essentially made the necessary introductions and ensured that, everything went smoothly until I was employed. So that's, in a nutshell, that was sponsorship for me, even though he's my friend, but he acted as a sponsor for me in that moment of my life. And if we go to scripture, real quickly, I would like to bring two examples. The first is David and Mephibosheth. And, David acted as a sponsor to Mephibosheth, who had become crippled as a result of the war between the house of David and the house of Saul. And what David did for him was that he made sure that he would be taken care of and gave him a place on the king's table. And the second example I would bring is Timothy, and not Timothy now, Paul and Barnabas. Barnabas acted as a sponsor to Paul when he would go to, because when Paul became Christian, there was a lot of suspicion around his around his and the people in Jerusalem didn't really believe it. So Barnabas made it easy for Paul to be accepted among the brethren. So Barnabas acted as a sponsor in that aspect. Right. So that's for sponsors, and over to you, Buchi. Take us on mentors.
Thank you so much. So I would say a mentor is someone with experience, valuable experience, that takes on the responsibility for someone to help the person, guide the person, navigate, answer life questions, and helps you basically navigate your life or your career. So a mentor could be career-wise, could be spiritual, it could be financial. So you don't necessarily have to have one mentor for everything. So you could have mentors in different fields, but a mentor, it is important that your mentor is experienced and that he has the necessary experience to help you guide you and then lead you, that's the mentee now, to be achieving your full potential. And another thing that I would like to point out is that your mentor has to be aware that they are your mentor. So we talked about I talked about how there are some people you follow on Instagram and you respect them. You follow them on social media, you respect them. You pick one or two things out of what they say. You can then you see those comments where they say, "My mentor." Good afternoon, sir. You're my mentor. No, that person is your role model, because your mentor has to be aware. Because when you have challenges, I want to go to my mentor and say, "This is where I've gotten to on my journey, and I need to know how to go from here onwards." So if we're going to talk about scriptural examples, I would say Elijah and Elisha. So Elijah taught Elisha, okay, this is the way of the prophet. This is how to do it. This is part the Jordan like this. I stretch the rod. I part the Jordan. We'll go over the Jordan. So I just try to picture if Elisha was not there when Elijah parted the Jordan and just followed him, and then coming back after you have collected power, now you can no longer cross back. Maybe would that create his own ministry? If I was to give scriptural examples, I would say Elijah and Elisha. So it was Elijah that taught Elisha the ways of the prophet, because you know where the scripture says, get Jehu. If you miss Jehu, you will not miss Elisha. So they actually picked Elisha, and then Elijah taught him how to be a prophet. Okay, this is how we do it. This is the ways of the prophet. This is how everything goes. Now you're a prophet. You're no longer a farmer and everything. And then even while Elijah was to transition and Elisha followed him, also followed the way that Elisha went, followed that process and everything. And then, like I said, imagine if Elisha wasn't there when Elijah parted the Jordan and crossed over, and then fire had carried him now, and you're coming back and you can't pass. So it will be, maybe we'll not create a tent over across the Jordan, and then he starts his own ministry. Now, another example would be Naomi and Ruth. Now, take note that Ruth was a Moabite. So, and she was a widow. So, I'm pretty sure maybe after Naomi's experience, this Ruth is a good girl. I don't want her to remain a widow. So, she brought her in, taught her the ways of the Hebrew. This is how the Israelite women behave. This is okay. So go and stand, go to the field. Boaz will be there. Ask him to be your kinsman redeemer, because she didn't know all those things. So she mentored Ruth to move from widow into becoming the grandmother of Jesus. So those are two scriptural examples for mentorship.
Cool. All right.
Fantastic.
Over to you, Chief T.
Thank you. So for shepherd, so a shepherd, I'll just use a definition. A shepherd is someone that guides, nurtures, builds, feeds, protects. So using shepherd and sheep relationship. So guides, protects, shield, and nurtures his sheep in a particular direction. Now, bringing it home, we have I can pick on two relationships that talk about shepherding, and that's number one, the parenthood, and the second one, your pastor. Those are the two relationships that God has given every man to navigate through life, because you can imagine if a child is born and there's no parent to train that child. Even the Bible says, train up the child in the way you should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. So as a parent, you are a shepherd. That's an example of a shepherd, because you are training your child in the way that he or she should go according to God's design. Now, good enough because unfortunately sometimes we have instances where people are not fortunate to have good parenting. Now, the second option to have for a shepherd is now being in a church where you have a pastor and that pastor now guides you through life. So a shepherd is more holistic, is more intentional, and he protects you from danger. And so not just the pastor, now there's a pattern of life that they are looking at. Even parenting, there's a pattern of life that as parents you are looking at to bring up your child in this pattern of life. That's the role of a shepherd. And they are protecting, and they also set boundaries so that you don't go astray. Now, biblical examples of shepherd relationship is, of course, Jesus Christ is the shepherd of our soul and everything, you know. But what comes to mind is Moses and the Israelites. We can see how Moses guided them through from the land of Egypt into the wilderness, and you can see the sacrificial life that he lived for the Israelites. So again, as a shepherd, there's that sacrificial life, but and until he was able to lead them, even though he did not enter the promised land, but he was able to groom them and prepare them for the promised land. Another example is Timothy and Paul. Paul, at least the Bible does not give us any record of Timothy's father, but we can see that Paul played a key role in Timothy's upbringing. So it's important for me. I'm a firm believer that every person or every Christian must have a pastor, must belong to a church where they can grow. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to just bring everything together, I would read two key scriptures. The first is Proverbs 11:14, which says, "Where there is no guidance, a people fall, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety." And Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor." Right now, so we would go quickly into the importance of these relationships, right? And the first thing that we're going to attempt to answer is, why are these relationships necessary? You know, in the introduction, I already gave us a hint that God didn't design for us to do life alone. But I would take it a step further, and Buchi and Chief T, you can add sure. A little bit. The point I want to make is something I learned from a mentor. He spoke to me once and said that people always say experience is the best teacher, but which experience? Do you want to have to go through something before you learn, or do you want to leverage on other people's experiences?
Sure.
And to that end, that's why this is very necessary. It is important. Wisdom would teach us that it's better to learn from other people's experiences, so that you live your life ensuring you don't fall into the same things. One of the things because I'm the first in my family, so when I have meetings with my siblings, and I try to teach them as much as I can, and when I started it, sometimes they wouldn't take it serious, and they generally think that I'm just being overbearing, but I made them understand that it makes sense that if I've gone through something, you don't have to go through the same thing. So I owe it to you to tell you where I made mistakes, things that I did that, so that you're careful not to fall into the same things, so that's generally the idea behind why this is very necessary, why these relationships make sense for us as Christians, or anybody at all, why we need it, both in our spiritual walk, both in the career setting and life journey, generally speaking. And so if we have any other things to add, yes, please.
I'll take it from where you said that God didn't create people to be alone. Even the Bible says that in Genesis that and God said it is not good that the
In fact,
man
that was
should.
what I was going to say.
That's exactly what I
That
was thinking. Like,
even when God saw,
I even saw that the man was lonely. It's like it's not good for this man to be alone. But if I would just give a little scriptural example. So, for instance, David and Solomon.
Yeah.
This is why these relationships are important. We can say David was both Solomon's sponsor and mentor. So David fought wars,
Yeah.
gathered gold,
did everything.
Gathered silver. Did
decided came up with the architecture of the temple,
Yeah.
everything, created it, and then left it for Solomon.
Continue.
Solomon just came, entered like this, built temple, sacrificed 1,000 sheep, became richest man. Like, see how easy
Everything
it
was
was
set.
just for him to just enter
Yeah.
into the relationship and just become.
Yeah.
That's why these relationships are important. Like, why would you want to imagine if Solomon now had to come, he will not gonna fight his own war, if we start raising funds. I'm pretty sure by the time he finish everything, he will not even have enough to even kill 1,000 sheep.
Yeah.
So that's why I think these relationships are important. Yeah. Chief T.
So thinking about what you said, right? So it also saves time.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said, so David had prepared everything, and Solomon just came in and took it to another dimension. So it will be a disservice to oneself to say that I'm going to walk alone. I don't need mentors. I don't need sponsors. I don't need a pastor. I can do life by myself. It will be a disservice to yourself, because the growth that one would have achieved
slower.
and the pace
Yeah.
of things that you'd have the pace for which the pace of steps that you'd have taken will be much faster when you have these relationships in your life. I'm just, in my mind, I'm thinking a child is born, no parents. It
You
will
have to
be
start afresh.
it will be like
Yeah.
what will I, how do I do life?
Yeah.
And that's how we should see these relationships.
Yeah.
One might say, oh, financial I can do, but there's the benefit of having a financial mentor or
You know
a
the saying
financial
that says,
coach.
if somebody does not have father, if somebody that has father is advising him, you sit beside so that you can pick.
Exactly.
These are things.
So it's just necessary
Yeah.
that we have these relationships in our lives from time to time. I
Yeah.
can remember when we first came to the UK and everything. Of course, we didn't have accommodation at the time. It was a friend, or it was one of my friends. Like you said, sponsors are not just someone that has money and will sponsor you through school or
Yeah.
drops financial. No. So it was my university friend
Yeah.
that, and funny enough, she was female. And when she came to the UK and I called her that I'm in Manchester, and good enough, she was also in Manchester. She said, okay, no problem, she'll talk to her husband. And that's how they gave us accommodation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the thinking was that we'll be there for about 3 weeks. Guess what? We did 3 months there.
Wow.
And it was just, so those are instances that from time to time people come to your life and you need to take advantage of this relationship.
Yeah. Cool stuff. And we're actually moving. The next thing we're going to be discussing is how we can identify and take advantage of these relationships. We have already kind of alluded to it, but for me, how we identify these relationships, the first thing is we must know where we are in our journey, and we must know where we are heading to. Because if you know where you are and where you are going, it's easy for you to look at the people around you and in your life to know who can be a mentor to you in certain areas, who can be a sponsor in certain aspects. And obviously we have the shepherd relationship, which is our pastors, and the church where we submit to, So for me, it's just when you have identified where you're going and you know where you are, you will know the people to work with.
Yes.
So
True.
that's my own idea, and please let us flesh it.
Okay, so another way you can identify these relationships is looking out for, keeping an open mind first of all. So for instance, your friend can go from being your friend to becoming your mentor, to becoming your sponsor.
Yeah.
Like King Chief T said, he said it was his you are King Chief.
King Chief
Like
T.
he said, it was his friend that took him in and then sponsored him. Yeah. And I'll give an example, personal example. So my pastor back home, she didn't really start out being, she started out as being just my pastor. So I went to church. Oh, I like this place. I became a member. But eventually, I noticed that, the way she's going, Father Lord, I like this style. You know, the way they say, Bob me this style. I like it. I like the way she was going. And I followed. And she mentored me. So she was like, oh no, do it like this. This is your stream. This is how you know where you are in life. So she helped me identify where I was in life. Help me. Okay, she'll call me. How are you? What about this? How about your career? How about your business? Have you done this? Have you done this?
Yeah.
Let's go and do this. Let's go and buy this thing. Like that. And she was just, then another thing, she now became a sponsor. She would tell people, do you know that Buchi makes dresses? Do you know that?
Yeah.
And she'll wear my design. And when she goes, people are like, this dress is fine. She'll say, it's Buchi, take her number. So being able to identify the transition, knowing when this person is no longer, don't be too rigid to say you are my friend, and my friend you be. Then sometimes your friend will give you advice, you'll be like, Papa, they your lane now, it's not that deep. Like, why are you advising me
From where to where?
Like from where to where, see finish. But know when it has transitioned, knowing when it has transitioned from this person is now becoming a mentor, this person is now becoming a sponsor. That's another way you can identify. So keeping an open mind and identifying the transitional stages of every relationship you have.
Yeah.
So another thing that can help one identify any of these relationships is crisis of life, challenges. And one thing I've learned from Pastor Padre, he has said that don't let any challenge go to waste. Now, in that challenge, God would open your eyes to see who you need to speak with. He would give you direction on, if it's a sponsor that you need at that time, he would just bring someone. I would give you an example. When my wife, we were supposed to pay some school fees and everything, and there was the cash was not readily available to us and all that. And guess who came to our rescue? In her secondary school, she was the school mother. You know the school mother relationship that you say?
Yeah.
It was that person who did not have an idea and who my wife had not spoken with over even when we got to the UK that I realized that who is this your school mother? And it was just a call to another call that this person is in UK. Do you know? Oh yes, okay. And they connected, and guess what? My wife just spoke to her, and she came through with the cash that we need to pay the school fees, and it was just stress-free. So in the midst of crisis, in the midst of challenges, if you are sincere with yourself, if you are open to God's leading, He would actually guide you and direct you in the people that need to, the people that would help you. And they are always around us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always. There is never too far. Sponsors, mentors, and they are always around us. It's just for us to be sincere, open our eyes, and let the Spirit of God guide us into how to identify these people in our lives.
Good stuff. Chief King T. All right, we'll be moving to our next point, which is how we can maintain and grow these relationships. And we have all heard stories of instances where this kind of relationships go sour. I have personal experience myself with is a friend mentor where we had a bit of should I say a fight now?
Go fight your mentor.
and we ended up not speaking for a while, you know. But the next point we are going to address is, you know, how we maintain these relationships so that things like that, you know, don't happen in our lives. And the first point that comes to mind for me is service, because service is at the heart of, you know, any of this. We must sustain the posture of service, you know, towards people who are mentors, you know, sponsors or shepherds, because if you have the mindset of just taking and not giving, you soon become a cancer. You know. So we must have that posture of service. You know, try to be of service to people, whether they're your friends, you know, generally speaking. But if it's somebody who is your mentor, in some cases you might not outrightly have anything to do for that person, but if you are attentive enough, you would see that, okay, this person, it might be something benign, but you just help them with it. That's what service is. You know, for instance, one of my pastors, who is like a mentor to me, even till today, I still help him pay his DSTV subscription. It's something he can easily do by himself.
Nobody imposed it on you. You just took it upon yourself.
So it's something he can do, but I just do it because service. You know. So things like that are things that we need to look out for. If you have a posture of service towards somebody, to be hard for you to take offense at that person to even begin with. You know. So that's my perspective on how we can maintain and grow this, and I know that Buchi and Chief King T can you know, give us more perspectives. Yes, so over to you, Buchi.
Okay, so I would say two things. First of all, with these relationships, one thing that you must know is understanding how important these relationships are to you. So you'd go out of your way to protect these people, to protect this relationship. So there's nothing my pastor would do to me that I would take offense. I might feel bad about it, but I will not, because I know what I'm getting from that relationship. I know what that person is doing for me. There's nothing my mentor will do to me that I will say, no, I've dropped my mentor, I pick another one. It's not a pick and choose basket. So you have to understand and protect those relationships. And in protecting those relationships, that brings me to my second point, which is honor. So you'd have to go out of your way to honor these people. Honor would include getting gifts just to say thank you. Honor would include doing acts of service, going out of your way to do things for these people. And another part of honor that people don't really take note of, especially with this current generation where everybody is social media, speak up, so it's okay, say what's on your mind, you know. Honor is not being found in the place where my mentor or my shepherd or my sponsor is being torn apart, is being brought down. So yes, let it be that it could be that person is making a mistake, that person has a flaw. I mean, the best Apostle Seman will say that your man of God is first of all a man. So yes, he has a fault, yes, he has a flaw. Let them be talking about it. I will not be the one that will point it out. I won't be there, I won't be caught there while it's been I have my opinion, but I don't have to now be going about, you don't have to now be going about sharing your opinion with everybody. They say, did you hear? This is what he did. They say you have to call them out. If you don't call them out, they will not. Don't worry. Let that be between him and the authority he submitted to, or between him and God. Me, I would stay in my lane, take my relationship, and that is also place of another way to honor these people that are in your lives.
Thank you. Excellent point, Chief T.
Fantastic. Wow. So I'll say, just to add to, or just to buttress what you said, is to block out external influences
Yeah.
from these relationships.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the person was talking about bullying, about people dragging people down on social media.
Yeah.
And he said something very striking. He said, like, look, mistakes, people do make mistakes. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Mistakes, with the mistakes you grow. You
Yeah.
learn from the mistakes and you grow.
Yeah.
And we have to come to that point, especially in these relationships.
Yeah.
We have to realize that, look, I'm the benefactor, I'm the one benefiting from these relationships. I should guard my heart as much as possible and shield my heart from any external any external influence,
Yeah.
any external thoughts.
Yeah.
People, because in our world today, you have people they derive pleasure
Oh, God.
in bringing people down.
Yeah.
And if you
They are
join,
called banter boys.
Keep
and
out.
it's
Yeah,
just
keep out worries.
is wisdom. It's just
Yeah.
wisdom that you. I know it could be tempting that let me put
Let me
in,
say
let me
something.
put in, or let me say something. Wisdom, just keep quiet.
Yeah.
Just be silent.
Yeah.
Even if your mentor or the pastor or the sponsor actually did that thing,
Yeah.
and you know that
And I was there. sef.
I was there, and it's not aligning to you don't join them. And what you need to do at that point is pray,
Yeah.
Yes.
because we're Christians. That's what we can do. We pray to God. It just brings to mind the story of Moses
Yeah.
and his sister Miriam, and is it Aaron now?
Yes.
And from where I'm the elder sister. Moses, well, why you go and carry another woman from another tribe? And God didn't even spare her at all. Didn't spare them. Didn't have any discussion. Leprosy. Why? In other words, from where to where? Are you the one that called him?
Yeah.
Are you the one that chose him? What is bringing that? What's bringing all that thing? Because you're elder sister. So we need to guard ourselves from external influences when it comes to our pastors, when it comes to our sponsors, and when it comes to those are the ways of protecting the relationship. And like you said, service is also important. Honor is also
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It is not that they tell you to do it.
Yeah.
Because when you benefit from something, you must also give back to
Yeah.
that thing to show appreciation of that relationship
Yeah.
that you are giving.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Excellent point. I mean, we have done justice to it. Just quickly, do we have any extra point that we would like to discuss briefly before we then go into our conclusions?
Okay. Do you want to go first or should
No,
I?
go ahead. Ladies first.
Thank you. So another thing I realize in this discussion is we have to give grace.
Yeah.
We have to give grace to people. So you have to give grace to your mentor. You
Yeah.
have to give grace to your sponsor. You have to give grace to your shepherd. Know that the person that, in fact, sometimes God can send you to someone to be mentored by someone, or for someone to sponsor you in something, knowing that this person is not perfect.
Yeah.
This your sponsor has flaws.
Yeah.
This your sponsor is not really, but
Okay.
yeah, it's not really okay like that. But you would have to give that person grace
Yeah.
and be like, okay, this person. So I have a friend. She's a sweetheart, but sometimes the screw used to lose. But she's a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
So giving her grace is knowing that when she starts, I'm like, it's like
Let me give her a
the village
space.
people have come now, so I'll move away. Give her space. I'm not like, why for her to do that, then she can't be. No, I understand that this person loves me. I love this person.
Yeah.
This person is my friend, but this person has flaws. So you give people grace.
Yeah.
That's it. So just give learn to, don't, like you said, people make mistakes.
Yeah.
Don't expect the people to be perfect.
Yeah.
People make mistakes. Look beyond their mistake. At least the Bible said that when a brethren falls, we should pick them up and encourage them, not be the one that will not say, okay, because you are falling, let us push you down into the ground.
Yeah.
That's my point.
One of the things that I discovered in from studying and all of that, I went through a moment where I was struggling with some of the things that we see in churches, and God showed me something. He said the patriarchs in the Bible who we learn from, who the heroes of faith, they were flawed men. All flawed men.
For instance, Moses.
All flawed men. So we must come to the point where, and specifically he said, it is the place of sons to honor fathers. And not to, so to speak, bring the nakedness of their fathers out. So we must come to that point where you understand where you are. And move accordingly. So that's something that that God helped me with. And when we speak of these people, speak of them with honor. And so
that nakedness you talked about, it just reminds me of Noah. When after
his drunkenness.
After the drunkenness, I think it was this one of his sons that came, had to back,
I think it was Ham.
One of the sons had to back because he was naked out of the drunkenness and all that, and had to back to cover that's the posture that we need to have concerning these relationships. With the posture of covering their nakedness. Covering their nakedness, not necessarily going to social media and putting, because social media is an agenda. They want you to also, whether positive or negative, is just say it. But lend your voice to, lend your voice and, just, lend your voice to it. You might not necessarily go on social media, but one or two within your folks, when you hear people, you can just say, no, that's not right, and everything. Don't say that. And that's how we spread. We must learn to cover the nakedness of people. Now, the thought that I thought that I said skip my mind was, we must also learn to know when to move on from certain relationships. You might not. The sponsor, a person might be a sponsor to you today, does not mean that tomorrow is going to be a sponsor forever. And you might be in a particular church. It happened to me. I was in a particular church in Nigeria. Fantastic, I grew. Who I am today is as a result of that church. But moving to the UK, I knew that it's a new season in my life, and I needed another word. Nothing bad happened that I'm saying, because of this I left that church. It was just a new season in my life, and I knew that I needed another word. And through the guidance of the Spirit, I was able to locate Covenant. And it just, hearing the word just said, yes, this is the place that I need to be. So we must learn to know when to transition from one relationship because nobody is alpha and omega. And lastly, I just want to say that we must not also focus on this relationship as our source. Because there's a danger to it, and that's why some of this relationship goes south and everything. When you see them as, this is my source, this is, and everything. We must, in all these things, God uses men to lift men, but God is still our ultimate source. And whoever we should not trust in men, like the Bible says. We should always put our focus and our trust in God.
Yeah, I mean, excellent points, Chief T. You know, Chief T is always coming through with excellent points. You know, we must ensure that our trust is in God always, while recognizing God working through men. Men don't replace God.
Very correct.
So
That's
I think that's where
Yeah.
we'll leave it at, and we'll pull the curtains here. And my amiable sister Buchi is going to
Okay.
help us conclude.
Wow. All right. So it's been very amazing. Like, everyone has shared some very good nuggets, and I think if you watch this, you'd pick one or two out of it, and
Yeah.
it'll help you navigate these relationships,
Yeah.
knowing what season you are in every relationship, knowing how to go. So we've talked about mentors, we've talked about shepherds, we've talked about sponsors.
yeah.
We also said that it's not, God didn't create anybody to walk alone.
Yeah.
God didn't create anybody to do life alone. That's why we have Liverpool. You don't walk alone. But anyways, because you know that
the Arsenal fans catch you.
Arsenal fans will be okay. So because of that, you know that you need people.
Yeah.
You need people. Apostle Simon will say that the gift of God will come from men
Yeah.
to men. So even if I pray from now till tomorrow and ask God for something, he will use a man to give me that thing.
Yeah.
So keep an open mind. Learn to give people graces, and then it's also important that you pray for your sponsors, you pray for your shepherds, you pray for your mentors. I was ruminating in my mind. I was like, it's not easy to be a shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Look at Moses. Moses was on his own doing shepherd in the bush. God called him, come and lead these people and take them to the promised land. Because of these same people that he was taking to the promised land, he acted in pressure, and he now missed the promised land.
Yeah.
I think about what if there was somebody praying for Moses and saying, Holy Spirit, help us hold his heart, hold his heart. We know you used to be angry, help us hold his heart, hold his heart. And even when he wants to act in anger, you know, he would calm down and he would make the right decisions. So it's very important for us to pray for our mentors, pray for our shepherds, pray for our sponsors. Yeah. And then, like you said, we should also be mindful of transition, of when a relationship has ended. Okay, when it's time to move on, and don't be so rigid to be like, no, you are my sponsor for life. No, that this relationship has ended here. Thank it. And my husband says something. He always says, don't shut the door. Don't bang the door when you walk out of any relationship, because you may have to come back. So don't always be in a hurry to, as you are going, you bang the door. Leave room. So if you are going to, for instance, this relationship has come to an end and you are going to leave, don't live in an angry way. Don't live with quarrel. Don't live with strife. Have a conversation and just let everything flow easily, because someday that person will want to refer you. Be like, this person is my mentee. This person is my mentor. Go and meet them, and this person, and they can speak highly of you and speak properly of you. So
Sure.
I think that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for joining us on the Nutshell podcast. If you'd like to hear more, trust me, we have a lot of people that are filled with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And you can always join us at our services every Sunday at Dean's Trust Adwick. The details, the address will be in the caption and will be linked below. So if you want to join, you know where to meet us every Sunday. We're there, and we're always sharing all these nuggets. So thank you so much, guys. I had so much fun discussing with you guys, and we'll see you next time on In a Nutshell.
Sure.
Yeah.